lunch.
Oh, okay.
And there he goes, hey, get a load of this. What are these guys eating for lunch? A arugula boogula salad? And he's just elbowing one of those like Bangladeshi police officers.
Oh yeah,
He's
the
like,
ones that like to
sorry,
take.
help me find pants that fit.
Yeah, why are they all in like a fucking
their
uniform?
dad's clothes.
Yes, it looks like a child,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Yeah, it's really strange.
A little boy playing policeman.
And the
think
hats
that
are
the-
big too.
Yeah.
I think that the police tailor is like a big prankster.
Yeah.
I think that he's like I'm gonna make these.
Take this, you fucking Indians.
Yeah, I don't think he likes
The
South
tailor-
Asians.
The tailor of Panama.
Yeah. You remember?
Are meter maids cops in New York? They seem like they're not. None of those people seem like real cops to me.
I think they're cops. Yeah.
There's no distinction. They seem soft. It seems like do they have guns?
It's always like traditionally an old lady cop job.
Yeah, or like a frail, like fresh off the boat.
What I want is
immigrant, yeah.
beater maids, and it's a cop that's like, sir, if you're gonna park there, you gotta let me beat you off. I'm like,
be
well,
fair.
fine, but I'm in a rush. If that's how the system is set up, if that's how President Andrew Yang wants it, so be it.
But I'm in a rush, so please kiss my neck while you do it.
Yeah, President Andrew Yang is like, in addition to anime available for
Is it?
everybody, everybody gets an anime body pillow.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
he
we will
really talks
also-
like that?
Yeah, learn English, Yang.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, but we will also be introducing beta maids instead of the police.
No, yeah.
Everyone says the police are racist, but what if the police only job was to beat off your penis? That way, when you get in trouble, an ugly woman beats you off. And it's punitive because no one believes in the psychological trauma that happens to men when they're taken advantage of by an ugly woman.
Yep.
That way, it's laughable. And it also has a built-in way of correcting the issue of sexual assault and how it's not treated fairly
Oh,
based on
interesting.
gender.
Thank
So
you.
Yang's
Thank
idea
you,
is
Yang.
to just rape men more.
So you use ugly female cops to rape white men.
Yeah.
And this is part of my genius
It's a
computer guy
redistribution.
strategy to fix the country.
Yeah.
And then
I love
everyone
how
has to
you-
be like, yeah, I guess he has a point. I guess it's this one weird Chinese guy that's figured out everything about it.
I love how you're using that classic Yang upstate New York accent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, listen, I'll take that
I
free.
think that's where he's from.
Is he from?
I think he's from like Rochester.
Going up in Rochester.
Oh, so you were joking also, Adam. He doesn't sound like
No,
that.
he's
Of course he doesn't
American.
sound
Oh, I don't know.
His
I've never heard
parents
him
are from
speak.
Taiwan,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's American. He's running for president,
I
which
was
means that he
born-
had to have been born here.
I was born and raised in Syracuse.
You're right. That is a good point.
He has to be over 35.
Well, it doesn't have to be raised here. He needs to be born here.
Yeah,
He
but
could
I
have been
guess-
born here and taken fucking back to.
was
Wasn't
he
Ted
also- he
Cruz
could-
born in Canada, right?
He can also be pulling a,
know. I think he
a
would.
Beto O'Rourke and just choose to sound like that.
That's true.
No one's going to stop
Culture.
it.
You know, that'd be less cultural appropriation than Beto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's at
I want
least
to
his
run
own
as
culture.
I want to run as Ding Dong Mullen. You know?
Oh no, dude. Oh fuck.
Just like, yeah, you know, down in Texas, we have an expression. It's you fool me once, I pee in your. When they look back on the past, they are going to say, "We know who are these." Who are these Japanese scum that passed this Donald Trump plan? We don't want to be like those nip scum. I don't know what the Chinese version
Does
of
pendejo? Isn't that? Does that mean?
means like
Gay
dickhead or
guy?
something. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're
what
thinking
if
of
they meant faggot?
you're thinking of
What
like,
about cabron?
no, cabron,
Cabron, yeah.
and maricon are like the two
Yeah.
different types.
Maricon is faggot.
Maricon.
Yeah, so is cabron. It's like cabron,
Cabron.
is like it
It's
means
regional, right?
yeah, and like I think in Mexico and maybe one other country it means like pimp
Cabron.
Nice.
because it means the top faggot.
Whoa,
Oh,
I'm that
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I'm a cabron, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
the
top
top.
daddy.
The other one is an insult everywhere.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pendejo versus
Call me
cabron.
Stavros Cabron Halkias, dude. Cabron Papi, that's me, dude. I'm rebranding.
Yeah, I wonder how Andrew Yang would fix the toilets, the bathrooms.
Oh yeah, we'd all
Yeah,
get
give us-
totos.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm
When
trying
you
to
say the
think.
toilets, do you mean the trans people going to?
Oh,
the
yeah.
Asian style bidets.
Whoa, that
No.
would be awesome.
No, I
Yeah.
just mean like
If
how
that
he
was
would,
part of his
how he
platform.
would solve the bathroom issue. What would be the Andrew Yang take on abortion? What's the thing that fixes it for everybody?
You harvest the stem cells for some
One
kind of
child
close.
policy, probably.
What?
The one child
yeah,
policy.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's not it either. It's some kind of synthesis between the one child policy and then also stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Only people who have cancer are allowed to. No.
What, you like eugenics?
Well, population control. There's an intersection between negative population growth, which is necessary.
Negative is necessary?
Negative population.
Oh, because
growth.
the world has too many people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Negative population growth, which is necessary. Safe access to abortions that also doesn't
How about this?
piss off religious people and
I got it.
satisfies what?
You get a free Xbox, free PSN, whatever, but you have to get sterilized.
Or Xbox Live?
Or Xbox Live.
Oh, you
I
get.
mean,
And that
already
way
kind
we
of
stop
happens.
it at the end of. We stop it at the point of.
But what do women want? Because women don't game. They want abortions. It's like there has to be some kind of.
Purse.
Yeah.
They have to
free
sign
purse.
a piece of paper saying that they go to hell.
One free purse.
A really good purse.
A Birkin bag.
No, you get big Birkin bags.
How about this? Women
get
have to sign a
shoes.
document that says, "I promise I will go to hell."
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
a binding
if you get-
A
agreement.
binding agreement that says, "I promise I will go to hell
If you
I
get
get
an abortion."
Yeah.
That's
fair.
good.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy. The church is happy because they're like, all right, fine, you
Yeah.
get it.
I promise I will not argue with Saint Peter. I will go directly to hell.
Not Pesco.
Yeah, that seems to work.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
The man scot free is off.
The dang yang did it again.
Yang baby. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Gamers. That's right, Adam. Because
Yeah.
most people would sign
How about
up.
the Andrew Yang twins? And it's like, hey baby, let me whisper in you.
Right.
Audrey, no, don't cut yourself. Don't do it.
I want to.
There's
No,
still
don't.
there's still things worth living for. Like, yeah, I can't
Like
think of any
Skyward
right
Sword.
now.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
If when we think
Someone
of
give me a
someone,
band-aid, quick.
We're okay, everybody. Situation
Listen,
averted.
word of advice: don't choke, or it's all over.
Whoa. Anyways, Sarah apparently once sent a picture of Raichu that she drew to Nintendo Power, and they never printed it, those jerks.
Bastards.
And so she's hoping to have better luck with Retronauts, and she wanted to plug her webcomic called Slightly Damned, which I checked out, and it seems work safe, and the art's pretty nice too. You can go to that webcomic by going to www.sdamned, that's SDAMNED.com. And the art kind of looks like Tail Concerto or Solata Robo, and I'll actually pass this art around you guys. I was so amazed that the mailman delivered this in such a pristine, intact state. I think even the mail service respected how well this art was drawn. It's a bunch of slimes from Dragon Quest, and her actual letter has a picture of Raichu, which is amazing. And I'll scan both of those and put them on the blog.
I think I met Sarah actually at LA at the Game Series.
I think
Here we go.
Making new friends.
Sarah.
Were you
and you're
guys
sure that
around
Sarah
when...
is not you, right?
Was one up around when Yuji Horii came to the IGN offices? Because
I don't think we were in the building yet.
You weren't in the building
yeah.
yet? Because everything he signed, he drew a little slime with.
I
It
saw
was
he signed the wall
fantastic.
by my desk, which I always stare at the slime and
That's
enjoy.
his slime.
God,
You should be honored to be near that slime.
I do. I feel its holy power. Okay, so Brian.
This is excellent stuff, Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
amazing.
Don't write your
Definitely.
letters in pencil, though.
I think it adds to the charming handcrafted nature of Sarah's Sarah's missive.
Oh.
So we have Brian. He sent me a package, and I'll get into what's in that in a second. He loves the show, and he writes, "In the box that is shipped with this letter is a video game trivia game that I made to sell at a local classic video game convention."
What?
This is,
Yes. I made 18 copies of the game and only sold 4, so I've got a bit of an excess surplus. The game costs $20. Hey, he didn't charge me for this. This is not COD. He says, the game costs $20 and you can check it out at facebook.com/videogametrivia, all one word. And I will actually...
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So,
yeah,
okay. It's already,
definitely. Let me move the letter out of the way. I haven't played it yet, unfortunately, but it looks pretty involved.
Should we ask each other trivia questions?
We might be able to do that later.
this could be a
Wow.
bonus episode, is what it could be.
A lot of the trivia questions I know are visual, so that might not work so well on a podcast, but I like how many of them there are. So hey, thanks a lot, Brian. We're gonna try to play this one day. It looks really great.
This is intense.
Yeah.
There's like a glossy sort of game board. It's nicely laminated. There's a CD or a DVD or
Yeah,
something
what-
in there. Oh, so it's kind of like, oh no, it's a music CD.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
there,
yeah,
Are
there's-
there musical questions?
There's music trivia.
Yeah, when the
Yes.
music card is
Yes.
played, the person asking the question will play the CD track
Sheesh.
on the card.
See, Brian, we're doing all your marketing for you.
Yeah.
Wow, not bad.
Sounds like the best
And
of
I'll
all
actually try
worlds.
to maybe
Okay.
disassemble it and put it on display. Maybe take a picture of it, put it on the Twitter. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to show it off. Brian obviously put a lot of work into it, and thanks for sending it. Thanks a lot.
These questions are too easy. However, okay.
Yeah, that's the one problem.
That is, okay. The first Resident Evil begins in the iconic mansion. A. Umbrella Mansion. B. Spencer Mansion. C. Raccoon Mansion. Or D. Edison Mansion.
Huh. I want to say Spencer. Is that right?
You are correct.
Yes.
You
It's
get
not
to,
Raccoon
You get to
Mansion?
keep hosting the show.
Oh my God! I didn't know the stakes were so high.
Yeah.
I would have phoned a friend. So, anyways, we have another letter, our final letter for today, from casuallyhardcore.com. And it says, Dear Retronaut / Bob Mackey, we are one and the same. Please find enclosed 2 t-shirts in a shot glass from Casually Hardcore. We are huge fans of Retronauts and wanted to send you some of our video game inspired products after hearing your request for letters. So thank you, casuallyhardcore.com. That's my plug for you. And I got 2 t-shirts. Unfortunately, they're large. They're larges. I'm a smaller size gent. So I can't exactly wear them without looking like I'm looking for a place to set up my camping tent. But I don't know if you guys can wear larges. They're all yours.
Large is the sad middle child of the video game industry.
Yeah,
We're either
yeah.
made up of overweight couch potatoes like myself or skinny geeks.
Boy. And
we are
I have to go shopping at European stores because that's where the Twig Boys come from.
we are S's and we are XLs and we are not in between.
Yeah, when are people going to learn? So yeah, thank you, casuallyhardcore.com. And if Ray or Chris, if you want to take home either of those shirts, go for it. If not, I can find listeners to...
You could give them away as
I could.
Yeah, it might be.
as a contest.
Yeah,
I
I'll
got
think
plenty
about
of
it.
shirts.
So yeah, thanks a lot, casuallyhardcore.com, for your free gifts. So if you'd like us to read your letter on the show and feature your envelope art on our blog, please write to me, Retronauts, care of Bob Mackey, IGN.com, 625 2nd Street, 3rd floor, San Francisco, California, 94107. Do it today. So we have hit our main topic, which is Kirby, which is
Yay!
why I've done. Unfortunately, I could not record last week due to some circumstances beyond my control. So I wanted to do a ton of research on a pretty broad subject. So I chose Kirby of all things, and it helps that Kirby's had a ton of games out recently, which were all pretty good for the most part. So just to, you guys can jump in whenever you want. I just want to give a little background info on Kirby. His original name was Popopo, which I guess
Yes.
falls in line with the King
DDD.
DDD
Yeah.
And Lo 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 and La La La
yeah,
in the first
which I
game,
thought it was
right?
It's all
Lolo.
coming together.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're a fan of that. His current design was placeholder art, so they weren't sure what this character was going to be, but I guess they fell in love with that little round character. Created by Masahiro Sakurai, who most people probably know now as the dude behind Smash Brothers, but Kirby.
That's his official title, the dude behind Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's what it says on his name badge. It's like, I'm the official dude. To be a game for beginners. And he always wanted Kirby to be pink, but I guess Miyamoto wanted yellow because of the weird, 4-color greenish, yellowish Game Boy situation.
Yeah. So it would fit.
You weren't going to get pink out of that
Yeah.
unless you bled on it or something like that. So, weirdly enough, like
Do
Kirby...
you bleed pink?
What's that?
You bleed pink?
Well, if you bled on a Game Boy, it might.
Right.
Okay.
No, it's interesting.
Also, I have a
because
very rare genetic disorder. and I do
I'm
bleed
so
pink.
sorry to bring
Yes.
it up.
he was a character designed for the Game Boy,
Right.
Rather than other characters being designed on other machines and brought to the black and white Game Boy, he was a character designed originally to be a game played
That's
in
back
black
before
and
he
white.
even had his copying abilities.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Right.
And if you look on the cover of Kirby's Dreamland, he's still white. I think he's still white on one more game. It might be Kirby's Pinball Land. He's sort of like pinkish white. He isn't not
Right.
fully pink yet.
I can go back and check, but yes,
Yeah.
he is white on the cover of the first game.
And
Yeah.
the weird thing is, I noticed about this is that we think, oh, the Angry Eyes Kirby, which is how they market him now, is a new thing. But I went back on YouTube, and I'll throw the audio in here. The first commercial for Kirby's Dreamland, live, this muscle-bound comic book guy from the 90s.
Oh, yeah,
like, just
yeah.
like chewing him up. It's like, he's big, he's bad, and then like Kirby eats him.
Yeah.
And spits him out. I guess he puts on his sunglasses afterwards.
Yes.
So
He
Kirby's
had-
capable of murder.
He had
They
the
wouldn't let you know that
misfortune to-
immediately.
Yeah, he was released during the Play It Loud era of
Yeah.
Nintendo marketing when they were aggressively marketing to like 15-year-olds,
Yeah,
trying to
that-
show how
yeah.
cool they were. The MTV era,
That was
essentially.
when Dreamland 2 came out, and yeah, that was...
So 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, we compared two superheroes, Dashing Super Guy and Kirby from Nintendo. In some ways, Kirby lost big. No big hair, no big muscles, no weapons, nothing. All Kirby's got is appetite. Kirby's Dreamland, the thrilling new adventure game on Game Boy. Kirby munches, spits back, and floats, saving glorious Dreamland. He's Kirby, and he packs a mean bite. Kirby's Dreamland only on Game Boy. Game Boy sold separate.
But a few more little tidbits about Kirby, and if you guys know anything else, please jump in. This is just what I gained from my cursory research on the subject.
I believe one of his other names.
I have
Twinkle Popo.
I have Twinkle Popo.
Tinkle. It's Tinkle.
It's Tinkle?
Yeah.
Okay.
even
That's
better.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Want some tinkle.
Is there some hidden power that they took away that I don't know of? Like,
It's best unspoken.
yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that tinkle in Japanese has approximately the same meaning as twinkle.
Yeah.
I swear, is there another Japanese game with the word tinkle in it, where they mean twinkle? Like maybe an RPG or something. I swear this is like
Maybe
what's
you're
back in
thinking
my brain.
tingle.
There was a
That's different and weird
Yeah.
for another reason. So
there is an old like Saturn RPG called Linkle Liver Story.
oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
That's what
yeah.
I thought you were thinking
Sorry.
of. Yeah, no problem.
Different thing. No one knows how Kirby got his name. Sakurai says he doesn't remember mysteriously, but it
I know.
seems to be the vacuum cleaner, right? I mean,
No.
Oh, you know, Chris.
Not at all. Wait,
Okay.
do you guys not know this?
On my research,
Did you not find this?
I tried to find it. I couldn't.
So remember when Nintendo got into a legal tiff with Universal about Donkey Kong versus King Kong? So Nintendo's lawyer that won them that, and in fact got the court to decide that Universal had infringed on Donkey Kong when it was like licensing other things, right? So Nintendo won that case. Their lawyer's name was John Kirby.
I
And
see.
that all got wrapped up in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, actually, I read that in the article I was looking up, but it said it wasn't confirmed, so I didn't want to. But I mean, now that you mention
Right.
it, like it seems very, very likely that that's
Well,
the
I mean,
case.
again, nobody has ever said, yes, we definitely named it after this guy. But
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo, I mean, first of all, Nintendo was very, very happy with the work of Mr. Kirby at
Okay.
that point. I mean, they gave him a yacht called the Donkey Kong.
So
for
do
all
you
of
think he
his
was a
troubles.
fat pink guy?
He actually ate people and
Wow. He
held
and
his opponents.
consumed
And he's currently in
their
prison.
powers.
Very
Yeah,
jolly.
he ate other lawyers. Yeah. So no one has ever said yes. That is exactly why we did it, but. It's a little too coincidental, and other people have been asked about this in Japan, and I've heard people say, oh yeah, of course, Mr. Kirby the lawyer, they all knew who he was because he was deposing Miyamoto. Everybody knew that name.
And not in a sarcastic way.
If I had
either.
to guess, it was that they probably generated a list of names, like here's all the different names that we could do,
Yeah.
and maybe gravitated to that one, like oh yeah, like that guy, yeah.
And also the overpriced vacuum cleaner series.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
It's
the
still a
vacuum-
possibility.
The vacuum cleaner one is a more interesting story.
Yeah,
if you
I could
wanna-
understand
if you
if he was
wanna
named Hoover, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. But yeah, like I guess before we get into the games, like how do we think of Kirby as a character? Because I kind of subscribe to, the guy who did Understanding Comics. What's his name? Is it Scott?
Scott McCloud.
Yeah, like his theory is basically the more abstract and simpler a character is, the more of yourself you can invest into it, the
Yep.
more like I guess I don't know. That's the best way to put it. And Kirby's basically just a walking smiley face. I mean,
Right.
he really doesn't have that many features, and I think there's no real character to him. It's like whatever we want him to be,
Right,
in a way.
exactly.
Is that too philosophical or weird?
Not
or-
at all.
Okay.
I think that McLeod's. Sorry, I mean, I not to monopolize too much, but I
no,
think
no.
you're on the right track. I
Okay.
think that McLeod's theories about abstraction more with a character have been borne out. I mean, I don't think it's stretching to point to Kirby as a good example
Okay.
of that, or like Charlie Brown, is a very, very simple character that people kind of
Right.
can pour themselves into.
Anybody
I'll
else
shut
want to jump in? Ray, how do you feel about Kirby as a person? I looked on Wikipedia. It's like Kirby's personality. It's like a subsection. It's like he's described as a cheerful boy in one game. It's like okay, I guess he is cheerful.
Wikipedia, you say?
Yeah. Well, that's where the research starts, and then
Right.
the rabbit hole just goes deeper and deeper.
Wikipedia is like 30% fanfic. Let's just-
Yeah. Well, I read about his terrible divorce.
Yeah.
In the same article.
An
Didn't work out.
An alliance with Sonic that one time. and-
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I think you're right about that transposing yourself onto the character, that sort of thing, because he does take other people's powers,
That's true.
other creatures' powers. There you go.
How do you feel about Kirby, Audrey?
Yeah, I think it's more just an outlet for the gameplay itself.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to really feel too much about him.
I mean,
and
I guess
he's
he's-
not the complex character that DDD is,
Oh
obviously.
yeah, that guy has all kinds of like.
Depth.
And
He's got
yeah,
layers.
I understand him. I get him. Kirby's an enigma.
Exactly.
So let's move on to the first Kirby game, and we're gonna try to get through every game, and that may seem daunting to some of you, but some of these games there's not a lot to talk about because one of the main issues of Kirby that I'd like us to discuss is that the gameplay is fundamentally unchanged from maybe like 20 years ago. Even in the latest release, there are tweaks here and there, but it's not a game they could have made on. It's not a game they couldn't have made on the Game Boy still. If you discount like some of the technical qualities and so on. So, Kirby's Dream Land, Game Boy, August 1992. To me and to a lot of people, this is the first platform that feels really designed for the Game Boy audience. It's simple. You can finish it in one sitting. And it's a really easy game. I mean, Kirby had the power of flight built in, which was kind of uncommon to see in a platforming character. I mean, Mario could fly, but only briefly. And in Mario World, you had to have really precise control over him. In the Kirby games, you can fly, float anywhere. There's no danger of falling to your death. You can do it sometimes, but
interesting things about that game that, you know, it's like, oh my god, he can fly at any point wherever he wants to. It's like, I'm like a god.
Right.
That was really advanced for back in the day.
Right. And I think flying in video games was still a big deal. I remember, Chris, on an earlier Retronauts, you were saying that was kind of the selling point in Mario 3. It's like, you can go up now. That was a big deal. And we're only 2 years removed from that with Kirby's Dreamland. So I totally buy that argument.
You know, when the Mario games set you up with, like, gravity is your worst enemy, right? You know, gravity pulls you down, it pulls you into enemies, you know, and the ability to when you're playing Mario 1, it's like, man, I wish that I could fly so I can just fly over this whole freaking stupid level and don't have to bother with any of this stuff, you know? And Mario 3 giving you a little bit of that feeling or what that is like, and just sort of, like, playing on that. And then Kirby going one step further, I mean, like, you can fly anywhere.
It's really empowering. Yeah. And it's like he has ultimate, like, instant P-Wing whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But then, of course, you realize that that doesn't really help you that much because the game is designed around that.
Right,
so
right.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So one of the notable things about this game is we usually associate Kirby with the main mechanics, but I think Audrey pointed out earlier, maybe it was Chris, that he didn't have that mechanic in his games until a little bit later. So,
she said that.
Oh, Audrey did, okay.
Yeah.
So in this game, it's basically just like you suck things in, you spit them out. It doesn't get more complicated than that. So I don't know, like, how do you guys feel about that mechanic as a platforming, like in a platformer? Was that revolutionary? It sort of reminds me of the kind of throwing vegetables and enemies in Mario 2, but maybe it's a little more accessible because I guess I don't know. It just seems a lot easier in Kirby than it does in Mario 2.
It's interesting that you could sort of interact with the enemy rather than just not being able to touch them at all. You sort of sucked them up, and they expanded on the idea later in the series when you actually absorbed their powers.
Right.
But it's a cool precursor to the actually getting their powers thing. It was fun, yeah.
It changes the dynamic between you and the enemies that you encounter because the enemy is your weapon, and then in later games, the enemy is your power-up.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So instead of like being afraid of enemies and looking for power-ups, you know, you approach an enemy and you think, how do I kill this guy? I know you think, like, how do I kind of, like, one enemy you have to kill? It's like, you know, okay, well, I'm going to play so that I suck up this one enemy and walk forward and shoot him at this other one. It does really change the way that you kind of perceive the whole world. Everything feels, rather than being sort of delineated into good and bad, you know, it feels more, I hesitate to say open world, but it feels a little bit more fuzzy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I believe you can't fly when you have sucked up an enemy, correct?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think
you can't.
you're grounded once you've got something.
Yeah,
Exactly.
which
So
adds a
there's
whole
your-
other level to
There's
it.
your risk reward. You have
Mechanics,
your power up on you, but you have to walk with it, or you can spit it out and go up into the air, but you're unprotected if something does attack you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Ray, any thoughts on Dreamland?
Well, you know what? When I first saw it in Nintendo Power, I was really turned off because you know I was like 8, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like some sort of baby game. Looks totally like kiddie and all that. Why would I ever want to play that?" And
You
then
didn't want to play kiddie games when you were 8?
No,
Ray had played Google 13 by that point. He's already smoking.
yeah. But that was just like at the end of that issue, and that was like they showed you all the flying and the sucking up enemies and stuff. So like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So I ended up getting it when it came out, and I enjoyed it despite beating it in one sitting. Like I mentioned before.
There were a few Game Boy platformers that you could pretty much beat in one sitting. I mean, before the advent, I guess, of battery back saves on the Game Boy, which didn't happen until later. Like DuckTales,
Super Mario Land.
Oh yeah, Super Mario Land, Castlevania. Those can all be finished in one sitting, and you know, without destroying your batteries. So,
But I did
You have to
appreciate
be
those
able to.
victories.
yeah. Oh yeah, no saving, no continues or anything like that.
Right,
So,
yeah. Of course, Kirby, I mean, the difference between Mario Land and Castlevania and Kirby is that Kirby can be finished in one sitting and usually is finished in one sitting, right?
I guess it was, yeah, I can buy that. It's
pretty easy.
Yeah, it is.
And clearly it was aimed at younger kids who were going
Kirby
to find
games
it challenging.
have never been known for their difficulty.
Right,
It's
right,
not
right.
what they're about.
This game also marked the tragic downfall of Lolo and Lala, who I guess stopped working for the forces of good and just began working for King. What? How do you say it? Is it DDD?
DDD? I say DDD. Some people say Day,
Yeah.
but I don't like that.
And really bad at those kind of puzzles, so I felt great satisfaction in killing them with their own blocks.
Wow, all right.
Wow.
Take that.
That's hardcore.
Spatial
Yeah.
relationships.
But yeah, they took a weird heel turn there.
Yeah. What happened to them? They've never been seen since.
chose-
Only in Kirby games.
That was a good wrestling joke.
Yeah.
You made me snort coffee up my nose. Good job.
let's move on to Kirby's next game. I should probably mention that we're going to talk about the main Kirby games first, and if there's time, we'll get to the side games. And I wish there was time, so
Okay.
we're going to try to make time for that. But Kirby's Adventure, probably the most notable game in the early Kirby series.
Possibly his best game, in my opinion.
I'd be inclined to agree with that.
Yeah.
So the NES version came out on March 26, 1993, and they remade it for the GBA, and that came out on December 2nd, 2002. And for what it is, it's probably the prettiest and most technically advanced NES game. Adventure took the simple mechanics of Dreamland and expanded them greatly. There are big stages, there are hidden exits, there are huge, weird bosses, wacky mini, kind of be the mold most Kirby games would follow from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I was talking with Jeremy about this, and it seems like most people discovered Adventure far after it came out. For me, I had an SNES, and I still got it for my Nintendo because Nintendo Power was hyping it up, obviously. And this mechanic was something you would not expect to see in a Kirby game because before this, I think there was only Kirby's Dreamland and Kirby's Pinball Land. There was no precedent set for, like, he's going to be kind of like Mega Man now.
Mm-hmm.
So that really interested me. I don't know, how did you guys feel about it?
I thought it looked great. It's funny from a visual standpoint because if you know anything about like actually creating graphics for NES games, you can only have so many sprites and panels on stage at one time, and the amount that there are color limitations. So the amount that they put into that game, the amount of how colorful it looked and how many different things were on stage at a time was just mind-boggling for a Nintendo game. Probably the most advanced one, like you said.
Yeah, I remember
really impressed.
This one level. It's sort of like the Battletoads level, but much better looking, where you're walking around the tower, it rotates, and the enemies come around the tower towards you, and it's really technically interesting. And
and it's like that might not seem impressive now, but that you hadn't seen anything like that before on the NES.
And there are huge bosses, like that one boss is basically like a digging machine, and you have to follow it before it kills you or something like that. I know it's gigantic. And how about you, Chris? How did you feel about Kirby's Adventure?
So I mean, it came out in 1994, did you say?
I have 93.
93, okay, so 93. So basically, this was the perfect time to start releasing kids games on the NES, right? Because what happened with the NES by 1993, but it gets passed down to the younger siblings, right, as you get your Super Nintendo. So I mean, that's at the end of a system's life cycle is when you start seeing games coming out that are for kids because they're the people who kind of have the NES at that point. So I mean, the timing was correct. Interesting to see the game move very quickly from Game Boy to the NES as well. Not only make the jump, but make the jump first before they even released a sequel on the Game Boy, right? Like this Famicom game to come out. And I got it back in the day, and I loved it. I thought it was really great. Yeah, right. Technically, it was great. The little song, the little musical intro that it started with.
Right, how to draw Kirby.
Right, how to draw Kirby, which you see a lot in like Japanese cartoon shows.
Oh, really?
For kids.
Okay, that's where that came from. Okay.
Yeah. Like a little song that teaches you how to.
They did that with Mario
draw.
and Zelda recently for the anniversaries.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
did they do that on like the Flipnote Studio or something like that?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, so that was something that already kind of had a sort of cultural like predecessors in Japan, but was maybe new for U.S. audience. But it was very cool to turn on a game and that was the intro. That doesn't happen. For NES.
It definitely had a lot of weird, like little cool touches. One thing I wrote down that I definitely stands out in my mind was it wasn't an entire set of levels. I think it was just one level where it was basically one of the Game Boy stages, and it was in black and white. Like, I believe even the status bar was in black and white. I could be wrong, but it was the exact same layout, same music, and everything was in black and white, even Kirby. I was totally amazed by that. I mean, it was like a nice little touch. It didn't even need to be in the game, but someone was like, that's a funny idea. Let's throw it in.
Yeah. No, it was designers who are so, thoughtful and do such interesting things with level design and creative graphic design get to go to town on a system like the Famicom towards the end of its life when it's cheap to just put as much storage on a cartridge as you can.
This was
really
a 4
bump up what you're
megabit
doing.
cartridge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is colossal.
Probably not the biggest. Was there anything bigger than 4?
For the NES, I mean, almost surely that there. I'm sure there's something that I'm forgetting. I mean, is Metal Slater Glory on the Famicom like some colossally huge cartridge?
I was thinking about that, but that might just be
I believe
chips.
And yet that was HAL too, right? I mean, that was this company, HAL was constantly at the forefront of pushing the technology. We saw it with Kirby's Adventure. Did they do Joy Mecha Fight as well, Ray?
They didn't. No,
they didn't do that. But they did Metal Slater Glory for the Famicom, and they did this, and they did a lot of other Famicom games that were just sort of constantly pushing the technical envelope. And we only saw
When I was a kid, I kind of judged games based on the amount of memory they took up. I guess that was one of my judgment categories, like
Absolutely.
4 megabits.
That's what they advertise a lot of times. Some of these
Right.
things,
Yep.
yeah.
I guess I shouldn't be ashamed of it, but yeah, that's something I wanted to mention. So I guess one question that we'll come to later when we're done discussing it, but might as well bring it up now. Do you think the Kirby games have changed enough since Adventure? Because, I mean, if you play, I haven't played the recent Wii one, but it's basically Adventure but prettier and with co-op, right? I mean, the fundamental ideas have not changed. I mean, the fundamental ideas in Mario are still there, but they've changed greatly to, you know, to move along with technology. But with Kirby, there's never been like a 3D, open world Kirby for all intents and purposes or whatever. It's always been 2D platformers, not far removed from the original Adventure.
They have either stuck very closely to the original formula or gone way far off. I mean, I don't know if I don't know where you count Canvas Curse in your list of. Is that a mainline game or is that a spin-off?
It's a main game for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or what about Mass Attack?
Mass Attack. That's a main game.
That's
for
a
me
main
too,
game for you. Okay, so I mean, really great, really fun, innovative things with Kirby.
Yeah.
And then occasionally, I think they just want to make a standard.
And that's
Kirby
a really
game.
fair way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, is that you have for people who just love the standard Kirby formula, which is it's a great formula. You have some of those every few years, and then there's a bunch of really outlandish titles that are really creative in between.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably return to this question again once we're done talking because there are a lot of Kirby games, like I said. But so my question for you guys is, what's your favorite Kirby form? Mine is either the grappler guy, the guy who does like backdrops and stuff, or when he has the microphone power up, because each time you use it, it's a
Sounds
different
good.
graphic. My favorite one is the rock and roll guy with the big mic stand, and he looks like I don't know, friggin' Mick Jagger or something.
Well, I'm practical. I like the cutter.
Ah,
It's like that boomerangy sort of blade thing.
nice.
Yeah.
Chris?
I don't know any of the regular ones, but I have two answers. One
All right.
is, and they share that one is in a ball in Canvas Curse, because that game is awesome,
I agree.
and we'll get to it. I'm guessing.
Yes.
And the second is Captain Falcon.
From Smash
That's right.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Captain Falcon's.
Falcon!
That was amazing.
And thank you. And there's a wonderful musical remix of Kirby singing the Falcon Punch song.
Is it
on,
dubstep?
I don't believe so. No, it's not.
That's
dubstep.
surprising.
Oh yeah. There was. Oh, what is it? There is a mashup of the Kirby overworld music and Drop It Like It's Hot.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You've sold it. You
I
don't
will
have to say
probably-
anymore.
Right on point.
I'll probably embed this in the blog
Please
post
embed that, and
because-
also the Kirby Falcon Punch song,
Okay.
which is not dubstep. It's just the it's.
It's okay. Not everything has to be dubstep.
It's the Kirby song with Kirby just singing the entire thing with the Falcon Punch sound effects.
That's nice. I should have
Wow.
guessed mention because we didn't with the first game. Kirby games have really good music. I mean, they mostly follow the themes of the very first game, but I mean, the music is always really bouncy and catchy. I don't know if it stands out to you guys, but it does to me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
We're all just staring.
what
trying
can
to
we
think.
say? It's wonderful.
It's
yeah,
good
yeah,
music.
absolutely memorable. I mean, it just has.
It
It's
is,
just
yeah.
that great, songs that just lodge themselves in your head
That's
and
sort
don't
of-
leave.
It's the same as the game itself, just sort of very upbeat, very
Yeah.
positive. It fits
And
very well.
I should mention the Game Boy Advance remake, Nightmare in Dreamland. It comes with new mini games, co-op, the ability to play as Meta Knight,